Welcome to the Winner Will podcast for athletes, parents, and coaches. I'm Giselle Kruger, creator and founder of the Winner Will, where we help elite student athletes perform under pressure in sport, school, and life. Today's episode is part 3 of the introduction to the Winner Will. In part 1 and 2, we talked about what the Winner Will is and how it all got started. And we looked specifically at your life as an elite student athlete and what it takes to navigate this path you're on in pursuit of great things in your sport and in school and in life. Now in part 3 of this short introductory series in the Winner Will, I want to talk to you about why it's so important to do this mental and emotional training and how the Winner Will process can help you do this work. If you're like many of the athletes I work with, you want to be your very best, especially when the pressure's on. And you want to really know that you can perform your best when your best is needed. The athletes I work with are talented. They're hardworking, they're ambitious, and they're passionate about their training. And you may relate to this issue, an issue that so many talented athletes face, that even though you work hard on your physical training and your skill development, you still aren't getting the performance results you want. And when these athletes seek out this training, it's not because they haven't wanted to do the mental training. Like there's no resistance to it at all. What these athletes tell me though, is that they just don't know how to do the training or that they don't know where to start. So I've seen it over and over again. And once they do get a hold of this Winner Will process, once you get a hold of this training process, when you experience the simplicity of the 3 steps in the Winner Will process, this training becomes an integral part of your everyday life as an elite athlete. And I want to say here, I want to be clear that there is no one way. I don't believe there's like a secret. There's no secret. There's no magic bullet to figuring out how to peak under pressure as a student athlete. There are many ways to do this training. We created the Winner Will process, which is one way to do the training, so that student athletes can discover how to do the work, the training that's necessary to peak under pressure. So the 3 steps just serve as a simple framework for you and a language that you can understand and relate to so that you can train your whole self. Often after speaking at keynote presentations or seminars, athletes or parents or coaches will approach me and say, we love the way that you're talking about this training. It's so simple. And they say, I can relate to everything you're saying. And I believe that's the beauty of the Winner Will and why so many athletes talk about the freedom they feel as a result of learning how to train the mental and emotional part of their performance. And the beauty is that the framework and the model and the language we use are easy to understand, easy to connect to, and actually apply to your life so that real change starts to happen for you. Sports psychologists say that this training has the most impact on your ability to perform under pressure. That's exciting to me because what that's really saying is you can learn how to peak under pressure if you want to do the work. You can learn to perform your best when your best is needed. So let's talk about the Winner Will process. And as I go through each step, I'll talk about why each step is useful to you as you continue to develop as a top performer. Step 1, uncover your strengths and increase your self-awareness. I talked about the origin of the personal profile in the first episode where we introduced the 3 assessments. How are you smart? How do you learn? How do you express yourself? Well, today I'm going to take a little bit of a deeper look at how you can use this information from the assessments to improve your performance. You may be like many student athletes who haven't yet learned how to be aware of what's happening on the inside, like beneath the surface, and how much your performance is impacted by what's going on with your mind and your emotions. You likely already know when you need to physically train harder or practice more drills, and maybe you're even pretty self-aware when it comes to your day-to-day life. But when it comes to looking at what's happening for you in the heat of competition, when it comes to the mental and emotional part of your game, and how that impacts you as an athlete, well, my guess is that it may be something that you haven't learned yet, or maybe you've learned about it or heard about it or even talked about it, but you may not know how to intentionally train that part of your performance. And I'm sure you'll agree that training your mental skills can have a significant impact on improving your performance. For instance, Have you ever thought about why you express yourself the way you do in various competitive situations? Have you ever thought about why you struggle when the pressure's on to make what's normally a really easy shot for you? Or like why you can't seem to stop thinking about what your teammates or people in the crowd might be thinking when you make a mistake? Or why your emotions are so tied up in the results of the game? Well, here's why this first step is important. When you learn to practice self-awareness on a deeper level, you'll be able to uncover your true strengths. You'll understand your emotional needs, and you'll know what happens when you don't get your needs met. And more importantly, you'll learn how to use all this information to manage the mental and emotional part of being a student athlete. You'll be equipped to actually deal with the pressures and meet the challenges of being a competitive student athlete, and you'll be the one to reach your true potential. Now, you may have heard the old adage, know thyself. You know, the phrase is shared by philosophers from ages ago, and that's really the essence of what this step is all about, to know yourself. But why is this important? Why do you need to know yourself on this deeper level? Because when you get in touch with all parts of yourself that make you who you are, this will reveal the bigger picture of the obstacles that are in front of you. And without that bigger picture, it'll be impossible for you to overcome your obstacles if you don't even know what's causing them. So to get to the next level as an athlete, it's crucial to look at yourself as the amazing, complex human being that you really are, because that's how you get clear on how to grow and improve and access all that potential that's inside of you. I believe that good athletes learn everything there is to know about their sport. Great athletes learn everything there is to know about themselves, and then they use that knowledge to give generously to their sport. Top performance is an expression of who you are. So be an expert on yourself, and you just watch your performance improve. So that's step one, uncover your strengths and increase your self-awareness. Step two is expose the obstacles that impede your performance. So once you know yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses and what makes you tick, the next step is to expose things that are keeping you from performing your best. The Winner Will model depicts you as a whole person, body, soul, spirit, because all three parts, not just the physical part of your game, impact your performance as a student athlete. So if you want to improve as an athlete, you need to view yourself as a whole person and ask yourself some key questions to expose the physical, mental, and emotional obstacles that may be impeding your performance. So for example, when it comes to your body, in the Winner Will, we talk and go into quite a bit of depth on nutrition, hydration, sleep, physical training, and stress, physical stress. So are you getting the proper nutrition and sleep? Are you staying hydrated? Are you training enough? How do you feel about your physical stress? How do you deal with it? And when it comes to your soul, which is comprised of your mind, your will, and your emotions, what do you want? And what are you willing to do to get what you want? What's your why? Like, why are you doing what you're doing? What emotions are you experiencing? What do you feel? How do you see yourself and express yourself? And how do you really feel about what you see? What sorts of thoughts are you having? What do you think? What is the message you're telling yourself in your mind? While the process doesn't get too deep into the spiritual part of who you are, your heart, that it's important to be aware that it's such a big part of who you are. It's where those deeper questions in life surface. Who are you really? What makes you you? What's your purpose? What's your meaning in life? Where do you get your security and significance? Those sorts of questions. And when you do this simple step, and I say simple, but it's not always easy. It's like a muscle. It takes training to strengthen the mental and emotional part of your game. You can't just know about it or talk about it. You have to do the training, just like in the weight room. And when you do this training, you will discover exactly what's impeding your performance. Your obstacles will be revealed. This is important because you are unique. An obstacle for you may not be the same obstacle for everyone else, and someone else's obstacle may not be the same as yours. So that's step two. Expose the obstacles that impede your performance. And if this second step feels a bit intense, just stick with me here, because This 3-step process really is going to help you put the foundation in place to make massive progress as a student athlete and start to finally get what you want out of your performance in your sport. It's great to do steps 1 and 2 and discover what's going on beneath the surface and become more self-aware. But don't stop there. Once you know what your obstacles are and why they exist, that's when it's time to take action. It's time to implement the strategies to overcome what's holding you back and put it all into practice. So basically, get to work on this training. So step 3 is implement strategies to overcome the obstacles. And step 3 is where the fun really begins. This is by far my favorite of the 3 steps, and I believe you're going to love it too, because this is where you get to see the real tangible results from your mental and emotional training. Step 3 is where you experience for yourself what it's really like to perform under pressure. I've seen it hundreds of times in the athletes I work with, and I'll imagine, the look on your face as you put the pieces of your puzzle together and you live out in real time the transformation of performing to your true potential. It's like watching you remove a 100-pound pack off your back and see you actually be free to play and perform at your best in the heat of competition. So once you know what your obstacles are, you may only have one because, even if you just have one, that thing that's keeping you from breaking through to the next level, you have to be aware of what they are. And then there are strategies that you can use to improve your performance. So step 3 is about implementing the correct strategy for you. This isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's a framework for you to use and take what you need just as your obstacle is unique to you. So 2, the strategy you need to implement to get yourself into the solution is unique to you. So here are some of the strategies that we get into in the Winner Will process. Restore the dominant thought. This strategy deals with how to manage your thoughts and emotions to make them work for you. What you think and what you feel has such a significant impact on your performance. Know the 3 rules is another strategy. When athletes know and understand the 3 rules, I guess in a nutshell, I would say it relieves them from the burden of self. We often joke and say that there are 2 types of people in the world, those who know the 3 rules and those who don't. Manage your stress is another one. I'm convinced that this particular strategy, as simple as it is one of the key factors for all our success on the court. In this strategy, we talk about stress, what it is, how it shows up in your body and your soul, and how to embrace it and manage it and use it to your advantage in competition. Another strategy is understand the power of momentum. We define momentum, how you get it, how to keep it, and how to avoid the most common mistakes that give it away. And when you understand and practice this strategy, you'll be the one who's in control of creating momentum and making it work for you in competition. Then there's the visualize the corridor strategy. And this one helps you first identify, and then eliminate the distractors and excuses that keep you from performing your best. And there's the very important strategy, make true connections. And the way I'll explain this is no matter how hard we try and set ourselves up to be successful, our performance is not only determined by ourselves. The power of the other is a huge variable. In other words, the others or the connections in your life affect your performance. So each strategy is designed to remove or manage or overcome a specific obstacle. The important thing I want you to remember about this 3rd step is to figure out and use the correct strategy that's going to remove the obstacle that you identified in step 2. So that's the Winner Will process. Uncover your strengths and increase your self-awareness. Expose the obstacles that are impeding your performance and implement the correct strategy to remove the obstacles. And when you follow this framework and model, you'll be well on your way to learning how to peak under pressure and to achieve your true potential as an athlete. You'll have more awareness and therefore more control over your thoughts and emotions. You'll feel more confident, at ease, and resilient in the face of challenges. And you'll be able to perform consistently, especially when the pressure's on. So this Winner Will process is a true game changer. It's made the difference for hundreds of athletes that use this process helping them go to greater heights in their athletic careers than they ever thought possible. And I believe that if you take up this training in the mental and emotional part of your performance, the same can happen for you. So that concludes the introduction and kind of the essence to the Winner Will. That lays the foundation of what this training can offer you. Now, the Winner Will podcast will focus going forward on topics and questions and issues that you face on the path to pursuing your best in sport. My intention is that each episode will be meaningful, relevant, and useful to you as you do this training. Episodes will be varied in length and format. For example, one episode may be a 5-minute answer to a common question or addressing a particular topic like, what to do when you're feeling so anxious. It's going to be giving you current research and information that you need to know to get into solutions for yourself. Or it could be an interview with an athlete or parent or coach or an expert who has some wisdom, strength, and hope to give to you. So we want to make it easy and short for you so that you can listen to it on your way to school or on your way to training or for a few minutes at the beginning or end of your day. So in essence, the Winner Will podcast is for you and about you so that you can train your whole self to perform under pressure and be your very best in sport, school, and life.